Hello and welcome to another tutorial from CamiPaige Boutique. I'm Brooke Tannehill and today I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful floral tumbler. As always, all the products I use will be listed in the description below, and you may even find a coupon code or two that saves you some coin. If you like this video and want to see future crafting tutorials, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you are notified of all new content. Also, come join our exclusive Facebook group where you can take advantage of upcoming freebies and giveaways that you aren't going to want to miss. So without further hesitation, let's go ahead and get started. For this design, I started with a fully prepped and sanded 32-ounce Plump from the Steel Magnolia, and I am using paint from Miss Lillian's No Wax Chalk paint because it gives me great coverage, and it actually has ingredients in it that allow it to self-level so you don't see the brush strokes as much as you do with other less pigmented paints. So I'm going to come in and just do a base layer over the whole cup. This color is actually called Rosebuds in June, and you can find it on the CamiPaige Boutique website. So I'm just going to again come in and just apply a nice even coat over the whole tumbler. I'm going to dry it using my heat gun. Even if you do not have a heat gun, this paint dries in a good 2 to 3 minutes, and then you can go into the next step of your cup. But I liked this for laying down a base for all of the glitters that we're going to apply to this tumbler. After the 2 coats of paint are dry on the tumbler, I'm going to pour a little bit of the paint into my palette and mix in Artistry's glitter glue to create a really nice adhesive mixture. Now, the only thing with the Miss Lillian's chalk paint is that it does not work well to apply glitter to your cup. So by simply adding a little bit of the glitter glue, you get amazing glitter coverage, and it dries pretty quickly with giving you enough work time. So I just simply mix the two together here using my paintbrush, and then I'm going to apply nice, thin, even coats to the tumbler and start to apply my glitter. To ensure I'm getting nice even coverage, I am just getting a little bit of the paint on my brush, and then I'm doing nice long brush strokes. So that way I don't have starts and stops in the middle of the cup that can cause a little bit of like globs or gloopiness, I guess you can say, with the adhesive. So again, I just get enough of the paint and glue mixture, and then I'm just taking long strokes on the cup to make sure that I'm getting that nice seamless coverage. And you can just see how wonderful it looks even by itself on the cup. So it just gets so much better when you start to apply your glitter. For the base, I am using Sugarberry from Diamonds and Dust. I absolutely love this color. It's just got so much depth to it, and it's a really good peak mix. And I'm just going around the cup, and I apologize that I am out of the frame, but I am just sprinkling the glitter mixture all over the tumbler because we are just going to be doing a solid color for our first base that we're going to be applying to this tumbler. So don't hold back, just make sure that you are going around the entire surface of the cup and coating it with the glitter, and you should have nice even coverage. But if you don't be afraid to go back like I am right here and touch up and just apply more of the glitter mixture, because you would rather do it now versus finding it after a couple coats of epoxy. And I ended up actually applying just a little bit more of the glitter glue just at the bottom base of the cup, just to get a little bit extra of the glitter coverage and just coming in with the glitter mixture. I let that dry for about 45 minutes, and then I moved in with 2 coats of epoxy only on the sides. I didn't bother with sealing the cup because we are only using 1 color of glitter, and then it was time to move into the next steps. After my 2 coats of epoxy, and if you need 3 to cover your glitter, don't hold back. You absolutely would rather have a smooth cup than a bunch of glitter poking up, not making the tumbler nice and easy to hold. But I grabbed it was either a 60 or 80 grit sanding block, and all I'm doing is giving the butt of the cup a nice sand to knock down any of the glitter. And I wanted to give this little sanding tool a try. And I mean, I guess you could do this with any kind of sanding block, but I have heard some other crafters have success with it. But I'm just holding this at a 45-degree angle and exposing a little bit of the stainless steel at the top of the cup. Now, I just wanted to try this to see how it compared to my Dremel. It did take a little bit longer, but this is very cost effective if you are working more on a tighter budget and are okay with spending a little bit of just a little bit longer on that top rim. So I just kind of worked my way around the cup. I did actually, after I had got that done, I did come in with my sanding block just like I do with my Dremel, but it didn't necessarily need it. And I guess you could have used this tool to smooth it out as well. I just wanted to, I don't know, I guess maybe I'm a creature of habit, and I decided to hit it with my sanding block as well, just to kind of expose and finish the process on those top and bottom rims. After I was done with this, and because we will be doing full wraps at the top and bottom of this cup, the sanding is super important. So I did take a little bit longer at the bottom of this tumbler and even at the top rim. And then we're going to move into using our orbital sander to make sure that the sides of the cup are nice and even, and we don't have any of those kind of high and low spots that you can sometimes get when using epoxy. Now, this is my orbital. It's by Ryobi. You can pick one up at Home Depot. They have them on Amazon. But the reason why I like an orbital compared to just a block sander is that it has a nice rigid bottom to it where you apply your sandpaper and where you are sanding your cup. So the reason why that's important is you don't have a tool or a sanding mechanism, as you can call it, that's going to be going down into the crevices and then over the top to where it's going to be digging out the lower parts and then maybe touching the higher parts of the tumbler here and there. So what this does is this strictly hits the high parts and evens them out. Now, the reason why I am not speeding this up right here is because since it is a rigid space, it can leave flat spots on your cup. So what I do is I am rotating the cup back and forth like you see here and moving it in the opposite direction of how I'm going back and forth on the orbital. And what this does is it prevents the flat spots from creating and constantly moves the cup so you're not digging out any or knocking off too many of those high spots, and you're getting that nice even finish on your tumbler. So you can see here that even though I had applied my glitter, I had done my coats of epoxy, there are those low spots in the finish of the cup. So what this does is it just helps to smooth it out, and you typically want to keep on sanding until a lot of those dots that you see there go away, but you do want to pay attention to not go so deep into the epoxy that you're starting to remove the glitter. So it's kind of a nice balance or dance that you want to say, but it's important to really get that great finish on your tumbler. I washed this cup with Dawn dish soap and water and then let it dry and moved into a coat of epoxy so that we would have a nice smooth surface for the following steps of this tumbler. Now, I know there are all kinds of creative ways to do the booties of the Steel Magnolia tumblers, but I decided to do something a little bit different. So I am using painter's tape as a guide, but I am actually kind of choking up about 1/8, maybe 1/4 of an inch up on the tumbler because I want the different color booty to show, because we are going to blend some of this glitter up the cup to kind of give it just some visual interest. So I'm going to use painter's tape as my guide, like I said, and then I'll fold over this little tab right here so it's easy to remove. But then we're going to apply a nice paint base for our glitter and then also apply it for our booty and then start to blend it up the tumbler. So this is a simpler design, not meaning that it's not beautiful, but I just wanted to kind of give it a little bit of a different technique than I have typically done on my other cups. So I decided to go with this really pretty. It's called Bella's Coral from Miss Lillian's No Wax Chalk paint, but I really liked the color and I thought it complemented the pink really well. So I'm coming in with this makeup brush that's actually from Wet n Wild. I get these from the dollar store and I find that they really work well for applying the paint. So I'm just kind of coming in, again, using that tape as my guide, and I'm going to do 2 coats of the paint just to make sure that I've got great coverage, because the glitter we are going to be using is an iridescent, so any inconsistencies in the paint have a potential to show. So I really want to make sure that I'm giving it a nice even base. After the paint is dry, I'm going to come in and just remove the painter's tape from the butt that we applied. And then I'm going to make sure that this cup is put on a cup chuck and an arm, because we are going to be applying glitter glue over the whole surface of the cup. So it looks great right there. And then, like video magic, it's immediately on an arm. And then we are going to grab our glitter glue like you see here again, and we're just going to apply a nice even coat over the entire surface of the cup, including the butts. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, where we're going to be blending the glitters up and creating a little bit of visual interest with a couple of different glitter mixes that are also from Diamonds and Dust that I will list down in the description below. After I was happy with the coverage and got the butt nice and covered with the glue, and I was really kind of came back and made sure that everything was nice and evenly coated on the sides, I grabbed my first glitter, which is Wild and Free from Diamonds and Dust. And I'm going to start on the bottom of the cup, making sure that it's nice and coated. But then I'm going to kind of hold the cup at a 45-degree angle and just lightly tap the shaker to kind of sprinkle that glitter into the rest of the cup. So you can kind of see there, it's kind of very similar to the waterfall method. But also, if you aren't very comfortable with ombres, this is a great way to do it. It's kind of a hack where you just glitter the base with one color, then you come in with another glitter and just kind of go over the top of it. So in case you're wondering, it's a really kind of trick that I've used a couple of times. But then I grab a second glitter that is called Toxic, and I just kind of sprinkle it every which way. Again, this is just adding some visual interest to the cup because it is a simpler design. So you could skip these steps or not do them, or just do a traditional booty if you wanted to. But I just thought this was a nice kind of different touch since we are going to be just adding vinyl over the top of the cup. So I let this dry for about 45 minutes, went in with 2 coats of epoxy, and then it's time to apply the vinyl. So I know you guys are gonna be so excited to see the top of my head here, but I wanna call this out. So when I cut these 2 designs, I added a little square in design space. So you just add in the shape, and the reason why I'm leaving my head in this clip, I usually cut it out, is because I want to talk through this. But what it allows you to do is I use the square to line up the gold vinyl with the white vinyl underneath. And especially with this intricate of a design, it's really important. So the white vinyl is Oracal 651 from Vinyl Fun for Everyone, and the gold kind of coppery color is Tech Wrap textured vinyl, also from Vinyl Fun for Everyone. And I really take my time making sure that the 2 decals are lined up, and the square really helps me. So what I'll do is when I apply these to the cup, you can either remove the squares ahead of time, or you can just pull them off after they're applied. But it really helps to kind of get that, I say in air quotes, perfect decal for your tumbler. So we're going to go in, and I first off was going to do just both of them. I kind of went back and forth, but I'm just going to apply these like I do a normal pattern wrap. So I'm just going to make sure that it's pushed down very well onto the transfer tape. I did use 2 pieces of the transfer tape from Vinyl Fun for Everyone. I really like this stuff. And then I'm just going to kind of cut back about 1 inch of the backing paper that you see here. And this allows me to get everything lined up on the cup and get kind of that hinge method going with these designs when we start to go around the tumbler. Because since you do have these intricate florals, and they are from Creative Fabrica, I will list them down in the description below. I really wanted to take my time to apply these, because you could get one part of the vinyl sticking and not the other. So I really took my time and added a little bit of extra care so that these decals came out perfectly and they just look beautiful. So for some reason unknown to me, I did not use my ultimate decal guide. I didn't use any of the hacks that I had previously shared in any of my YouTube tutorials, and I struggled applying these decals. I'm not going to lie. So I used my tumbler cradle, which I guess is a good thing, but I just got this lined up as straight as possible. Again, I have no idea why I don't use the tools that I recommend and sell and even like created, but I'm going to apply the transfer tape right here, making sure that the decals are as straight as possible. And we're going to be using a little bit of the hinge method. So you can see there, I applied the transfer tape, then I'm just double checking to make sure that everything is applied and placed the way I want it to. And then I did start to try to apply both decals at once. I know I'd mentioned that before. It just did not go as planned. There was too many just variables and I had to move things separately. So after I mess with it for a little bit, I end up just getting scissors and cutting the paper backing in half and then applying each decal separately. So again, here you can kind of see I'm messing with it, but that ended up being the best methodology. And I was able to get these applied with the minimum number of bad words and just frustration when applying this intricate of a decal to a tumbler. So just like the way I apply my pattern vinyl, I just make sure to just move slowly and push down the decal while pushing off the paper backing. So I probably should have used a little higher tacked transfer tape. It's just that stuff makes me nervous and I've had some problems with residue, and this is usually my go-to transfer tape. So that probably would have made it a little bit easier, but I managed through it. But you just want to take your time, just kind of either pulling the paper backing off, like you can kind of see that I'm gently helping it, just because since this is a two-piece decal and it's pretty intricate, it's just a little bit harder than normal. But just take your time. It's not impossible, but again, looking back, I probably should have used a higher tacked transfer tape, and it would have made it easier. So just this is all you have, just make your way through or around the cup, just gently pushing off the backing, and you'll be so proud of yourself when it's done. And I know it looks a little bit more cumbersome than normal, but I promise you can absolutely do this, and it's adding just beautiful details to your tumbler. After the bottom was done, I removed any kind of the extra transfer tape just from cutting the decal in half, and I'm just going to follow the same technique to apply the tumbler up above. Now, I'm pretty sure there are a ton of vinyl shops out there that could print this for you so that you don't struggle as bad as I did with this. And I say struggle very lightly because it isn't hard, it's just cumbersome and tedious. So I'm just going to take my time and apply these decals and make my way around the cup. But I have to say they are so beautiful, and I just love all of the colors and how these different elements came together. After all the vinyl was applied, I came in with a coat of Quick Seal. It's a poly sealer from Artistry Epoxy that prevents any of the vinyl from lifting. And with how intricate these designs are, I really wanted to make sure that I took that step. Let it dry for about 45 minutes, and then I went in with 2 coats of epoxy, and this baby was done. I am totally obsessed with how this cup turned out. I think it's so beautiful, and I know you guys could either replicate or take this as inspiration and make something even more magnificent. So I hope this tutorial inspires you, and I can't wait to see what you create. If you have any questions about the steps or information, please feel free to reach out and I'll be more than happy to help. As always, thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me. If you liked this tutorial, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see future videos. You can also ring the bell so you're notified of all future cup making goodies. Thank you again. I love you guys. Bye.